Do you know why they call him Owen Tippett? Because that's his name? No, it's because he can't Owen shoot it! Let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do! I'm having a great finger flick. You're allowed to show up. This team is ruining my life! I'm taking crazy pills! With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. That was just terrible. Get over yourself, you laughed. Victory puppies, Iggy! Let me tell you something. This dog knows they're on a 5-game heater. He slept the whole game, and all he saw, he heard the bag. That was it. And he just got up creakily because he's almost 10 years old, and he's like, yep, time for another shift there, boys. You were doing so well. You caught like 4 straight. Iggy, you like this too, don't you? Here, let's get cocky. Let's get cocky. You had no idea that's what I was doing. They do ask how, but they ask how many louder. Leafs win 3-2 over the Philadelphia Flyers for their 5th straight win. Anthony Stolar started the season one of the best goalies in the NHL. He didn't play in any of these games. William Nylander, one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. He didn't score any goals in any of these games. In the first period of last game, the Leafs lose one half of their shutdown pair. Win both games, give up over 30 shots, and get less than 20, and still find a way to get 2 points. This is going to be a fascinating game to explain to anybody who only watched the highlights. And speaking of highlights, after this video, I encourage you to head on over to the SDPN YouTube channel for the newest Oh Wow video. The OHL, the Ontario Hockey League, decided to be the cool kids, and they gave us rights to use their highlights on our YouTube channel. So every week we have a video called Oh Wow that goes up where we go through the best plays from around the OHL over the past week. So this game, the Leafs, how do I describe the first period? They didn't shoot. The bad news is the Leafs had fewer shots on goal than the Flyers had goals for the majority of the first period. The good news is the amount of goals the Flyers had was only 1. That's also kind of the bad news based on the criteria I laid out for the first one. That game didn't turn out to be what we thought it would be at all, did it? Heading into this game, Nick Robertson out of the lineup, Steven Lorentz moved up into his spot, and Ryan Reeves is put in the Leafs lineup. Oh boy, I wonder what's supposed to happen tonight. Jake McCabe taken out in a fight with Garnet Hathaway. We don't like that. Andy ran the goalie. People keep seeming to forget that part. Then much later in the game, Max Domi elbows Garnet Hathaway in the head, which there's generally frowned upon. And he got fined for it as well. Leafs dress Ryan Reeves. Game goes to Philadelphia. It's Philadelphia. And Craig Berube. I wonder if there's an extra pressure for him to play tough in Philadelphia, where he played a lot of his career. And sure enough, nice and early in the game, there is a fight, and it's the fight that we all thought it would be. Joel Farabee versus Connor Dewar. It was actually a pretty decent tilt. I thought Dewar did okay, especially because Connor Dewar is listed at a whopping 5'10". I kind of feel bad for Connor Dewar, and I want him to get a couple goals because I feel like Leaf fans don't know this guy. And at this point, he's been a part of dozens of Leaf games over 2 seasons now, so we should. He's played 40 regular season games for the Leafs, and he only has 1 goal, and that goal came last year. Last year, where somehow he had 10 with Minnesota. But he didn't know he had that in him. And when he fought, and Leaf fans were like, Connor Dewar? I had to remember way back to when he was traded to the Leafs, and I realized most people didn't have to make a YouTube video about Connor Dewar getting traded. This guy, despite being an average to smaller than average size NHL player, is willing to fight. He fought twice last season and twice the season before with the Minnesota Wild. Unfortunately, if you're going to be a bottom 6 or 4th line player in this league, it's kind of something you need to have in your bag. It's at very least something you got to be willing to do, and Dewar's willing to do it. I thought he did great in this fight. But still, I'm watching that fight and going, first of many, I bet. Nope, that was it. Reeves is going to come into play soon. No. Domi probably, no. Benoit looked ready a few times. No. And while I kept waiting for the next fight, if you're not paying attention, the Leafs are kind of getting their butts kicked. Leafs third pair of Timmins and Benoit, this is just a mess. David Kampf is following his man into the corner. His man decides to pass the puck. Why did he decide to pass the puck? Well, because Travis Konecny is open. Why is Travis Konecny open? This is a mess. Kampf has a guy. Timmins has a guy. Benoit and Ryan Reeves are in no man's land. And actually, you should have a man. It should be one man's land. Travis Konecny, get that man. He's having a great season and he gets a clean shot, and who's that with the screen in front? Oh, it's Garnet Hathaway. Thank goodness he's not the one who got the goal, or I would have blown a gasket, and it's 1-0 Flyers. Leafs on the power play. Mitch Marner between his legs, no look, gives it away. Who's got the breakaway? It's Garnet Hathaway. Oh, I would have loved busted. But at the end of one, you basically have Joseph Woll and nobody but Joseph Woll to thank for the fact that the Leafs are only down one. The first intermission, everyone's restless, everyone's unhappy. The Leafs didn't get any shots. The power play looked terrible on account of they didn't get any shots either, and the Leafs are losing. Why would I be happy about that? Why would anyone be happy about that? It wasn't just one. The Leafs had 2 power plays to none in the first period. There is no excuse to be getting outshot into oblivion. But the Flyers, 24 seconds into the second, as if begging the Leafs to get back into this game, take a high sticking penalty on Steven Lorentz. It was actually kind of bad. Lorentz takes a high stick. That causes him to stop his drive to the net a split second late, and he snows Ivan Fedotov so bad in the face. Fedotov did not seem to like it, but he stayed in the game and everything was fine. And then this happened on the power play, and this is just not great goaltending. Ivan Fedotov is doing great and has the post covered and everything, and then that would be perfect if John Tavares was standing like 6 feet to his left, but he wasn't. JT goes, "Don't mind if I do," and fires an absolute rocket off the bar. With that, John Tavares becomes just the 32nd player in the entire history of the NHL to have 15 seasons of 20 goals or more. Dude, he's 24 goals shy of 500. He would have to be really hot to end this season to hit 500 before the season's done. It's not impossible. He would only have to score at a rate barely higher than he's currently scoring to do it. Realistically, he'll end up in the 490s. Tavares is ridiculous. Again, before the season, what did I tell you? Last year he shot 10.4%, which is brutal and way below his career average. Now he's shooting at 16.9. The year he scored 47, he shot 16.4. He's shooting better than the year he scored 47. God, I love this guy. Never leave. And hilariously, like 22 minutes into a game where the Leafs essentially have no shots, they've tied the game. A lot of narratives get nipped in the bud all at once. The power play, which was bad in the first, it looks pretty good. William Nylander, I don't know if he had the best game, but the zone entry that led to the power play goal was great. No, he didn't pick up an assist, but Mitch Marner does. And look at that, Austin Matthews with another one since coming back. He'll come into play later. But unfortunately, the tie game was short-lived. 6 minutes later, Konechny again. And oh, you don't want to know what pair was out there again? Connor Timmins, buddy! Oh, no. Yeah, this one was bad. It should be mentioned that this is 4-on-4 action, so things were a little screwy. Not everyone is necessarily where you expect them to be. Here he is, Connor Timmins, in his own corner with the puck. Look at this. This is a great situation. There's only one Flyer there. We don't like that guy. But there's a Leaf behind the net. There he is. You can just give it to him. Hey, you know what? You can just take the puck up the boards yourselves. There is a world of opportunity here. You can do whatever you want. Fast forward a touch. Okay. So Timmins still has it, and the Flyer is closer, and now McMahon is behind the Flyer. Okay. We don't like that, but you're okay. You have options here. You have fewer options, but you have options. Then Bobby McMahon, expecting to receive a pass any moment now, can't, because the guy he was supposed to get a pass from is now fully tied up with Noah Cates, who is all the way in his kitchen. Cates is able to take it off Timmins and throw it into the slot, while Bobby McMahon takes the weirdest path of all time. And all of a sudden, a guy who is underratedly one of the best goal scorers in the NHL this season and scored on you early tonight is all alone in the slot! Boo and hiss, this stinks. The Leafs are now down again. Connor Timmins wears the goat horns on this one, and he's going to get the majority of the hate here. I can't help but feel like Bobby McMahon could have done a little bit more to help him out. Weird game for Bobby. He gets promoted to the second line, and he gets a few opportunities, and he looks good on a few rushes, and he also gets killed by a guy. I'm not sure what to make of that one. Is it as simple as it's all Timmins' fault? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm not sure. Look, the giveaway's bad. I don't love this play from Timmins, but I always try to think of it from the perspective of not just, oh, that's dumb, that's a bad play. I try to go, okay, well, these are NHL players, and most of them have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Why did that decision happen? But hey, it's hard out there. Like, take, for example, the Philadelphia Flyers less than a minute later. The Leafs are on the power play. That's cool. Mitch Marner has the puck. I like when that happens. Oh, but who's he gonna give it to? I don't know, probably the captain of the team who had 69 goals last year, who not a single Philadelphia Flyer in the building knows exists right now. That is hiding in plain sight at his finest. Find a square of dudes and stand in the middle of the square. I don't think Matthews would have missed from there if the puck was a cantaloupe and it's 2-2. Now, we head into the third period, and I'm super relieved that this wasn't more serious than it looked. Barely 10 seconds into the third period, Scott Laughton and Matvey Michkov are going for the same puck. They don't see each other until it's way too late, and they sickeningly ram heads and both drop to the ice. Michkov's face is messed up. He's got scrapes and cuts, and Laughton, I was like, well, his night's over for sure. Both of them head to the dressing room, and miraculously, both of them return to the game. And in the sweetest moment ever, Laughton gives Michkov a little kiss on the helmet, something that it just transcends any language barrier. And during their absence, the Leafs weren't able to score to take the lead, so it's still 2-2. And you gotta think that both teams are looking at this game going, well, we each got a point last time. Went to overtime. We're not in the same division. We are in the same conference. We're not in the same division. Maybe we could, No, the Leafs had other plans. First, Austin Matthews wins the offensive zone draw with his foot. Wins it back with accuracy to Philippe Myers, who sends it over to Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly puts it on. Why did Morgan Rielly put it on? Do you remember the discussion that we had just a few videos ago when no Leafs defenseman had scored in over a month? They had taken over 100 shots on goal without scoring a goal. Well, the Leafs defense isn't necessarily built to score goals from the blue line, or rather a goal from the blue liner. The way the Leafs are meant to score goals is with stuff like this. Go to the net! With Matthew Knies causing havoc in the slot, and look at Mitch Marner. Look at what is Fedotov supposed to do? What is any goalie in the NHL supposed to do? Rielly could have thrown a paper airplane and it would have had a chance of going in. But it's Matthew Knies who tips it, because of course he does. The kid is ridiculously hot, and the Leafs take their first lead of the game perilously late if you're the Flyers. Now look, I'm going to go to bat for the Leafs, not because they won, but because it's the truth. A lot of the conversation about this game is going to be about how the Leafs played really poorly, but they got bailed out by their goalie and still won. I don't totally buy it. It's a half-truth, I think. Listen, the first period was doo-doo. That was horrible. That was a bottom 5 first period the Leafs have had this season, honestly. But by roughly the time the Leafs finally took the lead in this game, the shots on goal still weren't even, but the shot attempts were relatively close. Of course, the shots ended 32-17, which looks awful. But the second the Leafs took the lead, they're like, okay, well, it's late in the third. Let's just hunker down, which is not necessarily the best strategy. It should also be mentioned that Max Pacioretty took a penalty, and that's bad. Flip the puck over the glass. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. And I think because of score effects after the Leafs took the lead, that's when the Flyers just started firing everything, including the kitchen sink, because it's Philadelphia. I don't know how he snuck it past the metal detectors, but it caused quite the delay in the game. And Wool was ridiculously stupendous, having to make several huge saves over the stretch. But before I give the Leafs too much credit, Owen Tippett missed this shot with a minute left in a 1-goal game at home. How? Dude, you know what sucks? Owen Tippett is actually such a sick player. He's still only 25, 6'1", 210 pounds, and he is one of the fastest players in the entire league. Like, put him in the conversation of McDavid, McKinnon, all of them. Is he maybe as dynamic a skater as those guys? I don't know. But in terms of just straightaway speed, he's an absolute demon. He has 11 goals and 24 points in 41 games this season. Owen Tippett is what we all thought Kasperi Kapanen was gonna be. He's gonna score somewhere between 15 and 20 goals. He's gonna score somewhere between 45 and 50 points, and he's gonna be useful in a number of situations. And a player that you want out there with the game on the line. This is just the hockey god's gift to the Leafs Nation universe. Flyers struggle with the clock after that. They struggle to get Fedotov out of the net. They struggle with, they took a penalty by tripping Austin Matthews with 12 seconds to go. And the Leafs eke out a win and just get the heck out of Philadelphia. Big 2 points. Questions. Can Berube just staple Knies to the front of the goalie at all times and order the rest of the Leafs to just shoot in his direction? Apparently that's the cheat code for getting a puck in the net. No, unfortunately Matthew Knies is like really good at a bunch of other stuff. He's pretty fast, and he's big, and he can kill penalties, And he's got crazy hands, actually. And God, I love Matthew Nyes. I really do. Matthew Nyes, yet again, and he gets the game winner in this one. But hey, that is at least the third or fourth time this season I can remember the Leafs scoring a goal and Mitch Marner being about an inch away from the goalie, taking away his sight. His game this is the best version of Mitch Marner I've ever watched. He's unbelievable. Why do I feel more comfortable with a 3-2 lead this year than a 4-1 lead in years past? That's because the Leafs have returned to the real NHL. I think Sheldon Keefe got it wrong. It's not about media coverage. It's about how hockey is played. This is how games, for the majority of my life anyway, it used to be a good thing to have the lead with like 5 minutes to go, you know? The Leafs blew a 4-0 lead and lost in overtime in the third game of the Matthews era. Remember the Centennial Classic? You ever remember Matthews getting the OT winner? Remember how happy you were? They blew a 4-1 lead that night! Heck, I keep mentioning Matthews. The Leafs' most famous blown 4-1 lead happened long before he was drafted. In the real NHL, they play, defense. And you're allowed to, make saves. This year's team has both those things. They have defense and make saves, so that's pretty cool. Michkov being the best player on the ice was sick. Can you do this to me after that heartbreaking loss? And this is from a Flyers fan posting Lawton kissing Michkov on the helmet. Mwah! And lastly, because I've been getting some questions about it, when did you decide to change how the LFRs are named on YouTube? Threw me off the first time I saw it. Yeah, me and producer Drew were just talking and we wanted to try it and just try something different, basically. We're thinking about switching it back. We're not really sure. Some people really like it because not everyone actually wants to know the score and have occasionally had it spoiled by the title of the LFR video, which I understand. Other people just don't really like change, which I also understand. What do you think? Let me know. Leave a comment in the comment box down below. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Brand new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow. New CJ show Thursday. Mondays was good. Oh, and I should mention I'll be streaming Saturday's game on the SDPN YouTube channel. And on Thursday, Adam will be streaming the game. So don't miss it on SDPN.